We're now in Auschwitz, perhaps one of the most hideous places on earth. No fewer than just under 4 million men, women and children arrived in this camp in order to be executed. Their crime? Well, for most of them, simply being a Jew. This place was the focal point of the efforts of Europeans right across our continent. Wherever the German army occupied, there were plenty of volunteers to turn the Jews over for extermination. They were brought here by train, then into this camp, and beside me here you can see the electric fence, just one layer of it, another beyond it, which kept them here until their turn arrived to go to the gas chambers. Perhaps it's a chilling reminder of what the Prince of Darkness will do if he's able to control a person's heart and mind. It's good, isn't it, that we're able to serve the Prince of Peace, the King of Righteousness, the Lord Jesus Christ, and in serving him we're in conflict with that Prince of Darkness, and one day his defeat will be complete.
Perhaps the following will give you some idea of what it was like to enter Auschwitz. After a while, a convoy of trucks covered with tarpaulins entered the crematorium yard. The SS men who had come with the transport leapt down from the running boards, ran to the back and let down the tailboards. Then they raised the tarpaulins and asked the people to step down. This was done so courteously that I could hardly believe my eyes and ears. I was puzzled. What sort of people were these who had just arrived? "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "on behalf of the camp administration, I welcome you. We have been instructed to do everything possible to expedite your departure abroad. For this purpose, a representative of the Foreign Ministry is here to tell you how the rest of your journey has been organized, and he will now speak to you." The so-called representative of the Foreign Ministry now mounted the platform. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "I have been instructed by the Foreign Ministry to organize your journey to Switzerland. This is your last stop on the territory of the Third Reich. We have brought you here because the Swiss authorities insist that each one of you must be disinfected before you cross the frontier." He went on officiously. "Here we have the facilities for carrying out large-scale disinfection proceedings. In this building," he pointed at the crematorium, "a large bathhouse has been installed where you are to go later. Another thing, after your bath, please have your travel documents ready so that we can certify that you have been disinfected. Once more, may I point out that the Swiss authorities have declared that nobody will be allowed to cross the frontier without the certificate in his passport." The lift linking the underground rooms with the cremation room was constantly going up and down. The nervousness displayed by the SS men indicated that, after initially all going so perfectly according to plan, their well-organized murder operation had struck a snag. Kaminsky, our capo, was ordered to stand by with 18 prisoners, of whom I was one. Some time later an SS man took us down in the lift. There we waited in the corridor from which doors led to the gas chamber, the mortuary and the changing room. From the latter came a humming of voices, and at intervals firm commands ordering the people to undress. Eventually Oberstürer Voss took us into the mortuary. There, behind a pile of emaciated corpses, 6 hand-painted signboards were propped against the wall. They had the letters A to D, E to H, and so on down to Z, painted on them in black letters, and had arrived at the crematorium some days earlier. Nobody could imagine what they were meant for, and now the mystery was to be resolved. Oberstürer Voss lined us up in rows of 3. The man in the middle of each row was told to hold one of the boards. Then we marched into the changing room, where we took our places along one of the walls, facing the people who had come with the transport. Each board was turned so that they could read the letters. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "you can all see the boards with the letters of the alphabet which have just been brought in. Now please look at them carefully." Here he pointed at the boards, one after the other from A to Z. Then he went on, "When you have dressed after your bath, kindly queue up at the board with the first letter of your surname, where you will be given a certificate confirming that you have been disinfected. Please also remember the number of your hook in the changing room, so that the necessary formalities can be dealt with as quickly and as smoothly as possible. And do not regard this disinfection business as something we've thought up to annoy you. It is, let me re-emphasize, the Swiss authorities who insist on it." After a few minutes' hesitation, the SS men began to usher the ones who had undressed into the gas chamber. possibly in the belief that once they had them out of the way, they might be able to deal with the recalcitrant ones more efficiently. Presently more than half the people were behind the great door of the gas chamber. It seemed that the others still in the changing room were trying to gain time. Time for what, though? The crematorium was surrounded by armed SS men. None of us prisoners was willing to join them in what would be a senseless attempt to get away. Suddenly the door was flung open. I was blinded by the glare of several searchlights. Then I heard Voss shouting, "All members of the Sonderkommando, come out!" Greatly relieved, we dashed outside and ran up the stairs and into the yard. Outside the door to the changing room, 2 machine guns had been set up, and behind them several searchlights. Steel helmeted SS men were lying ready to operate the machine guns. Then there was the rattle of machine guns. A terrible bloodbath was wrought about the people caught in the changing room. A very few who had managed to hide behind pillars or in corners were later seized and shot. In the meantime, the disinfecting officers had thrown their deadly Zyklon B gas down into the gas chamber, where the credulous, placing their trust in Hostler's deceitful words, had gone less than an hour earlier. As for us, these events have taught us once again that there simply was no chance of escape once a person entered the crematorium. Promises of the SS, ranging from work inside the camp to emigration to Switzerland, were nothing but barefaced deception.